Teacher, may I speak before the test begins? I've been conducting a small study, the peculiar habits of adults. I watched from car windows and bus stops, from behind people in lines with faces like folded maps. They wake to alarms that sound like sirens, drink coffee like bottled courage, and hurry as if chasing trains that never arrive. You might squint and miss some of it, teacher, your gaze softens things, but I see the patterns. Calendars hang like trophies for surviving deadlines. People measure time in tasks and tally worth in numbers that cannot hug. They schedule fun like dentist appointments and tuck away laughter for later, which becomes a place where joy is always delayed. Why is adulthood called a goal when it behaves like a trap? They tell me I'll understand when I grow up, as if understanding is an illness reserved for gray hair. Grown-ups develop a profession, being busy. They buy comfortable chairs to recover from sitting in uncomfortable ones and planners to plan time to buy new planners. They trade mornings for meetings and afternoons for approvals, with hands that once drew without asking permission. If I must grow up, teacher, I prefer an alternative career, astronaut. I will live above the clouds where bills cannot fly. From space, Earth becomes small and tender, blue and round, like a toy someone polished and forgot. From there, borders blur and noise becomes curiosity. I will visit planets where clocks run loose and no one invented the phrase, as soon as I finish this. I will plant little flags that read, here we tried kindness, and catalog clouds by their sense of humor. Now the test sits on my desk like a planet I've never visited. Page 1, explain the water cycle. Evaporate, condense, rain. Easy. But my pencil scribbles other questions. Why do adults trade mornings for meetings or joy for schedules? The exam asks neat answers, mine want to be messy constellations. Multiple choice boxes wait like tiny moons. The essay prompt gapes like a black hole. You taught us that learning is seeing what was always there. Maybe grown-ups forgot to keep looking. Behind serious faces are pockets with old marbles, dried stickers, movie tickets never used. Once I saw a man pause at a bakery and breathe as if remembering warmth. For a moment, his shoulders nodded. Those accidents of grace are hoarded because no one taught them to share. Responsibility, in the adult dictionary, is paying bills. In mine, it's guarding curiosity like a moth. Adults confuse steadiness with surrender, they treat seriousness as an asset and giggling as a liability. But courage can be laughing when the calendar insists otherwise. Sometimes bravery is shelving a meeting because your neighbor needs tea. Sometimes it's choosing a walk over a spreadsheet. Describe force. Gravity pulls an apple down, habit pulls people into grooves they dug themselves. I imagine engines that nudge folks toward a park bench and insist, sit and look up. We study Newton's laws and act as if people are exempt. The strongest force I see is repetition, the quiet coercion that teaches us to accept less. Halfway through the exam I giggle. It bubbles up because adults arguing with calendars seems absurd, a play where everyone forgot their lines. I cover my mouth because whispers are required, but the laugh is a comet that will not be catalogued. I'm not mocking, laughter is protest and remedy. Systems fascinate me. The classroom is an ordered orbit, questions, pencils, the bell. The solar system is grand and unfussy, planets keep course without memos. Offices require memos to confirm conversations. Imagine organizations judged by how much joy they allow, job descriptions that include, bring a joke on Mondays. Imagine HR with a section called, bring a postcard from your imagination. You, teacher, are kindly nearsighted, your focus makes details softer. You never told us to stop asking. You told us to ask better questions. So here is mine, if growing up is supposed to bring wisdom, why are children better at asking what matters? Why do grown-ups confuse duty with meaning? Why does being serious become a skill instead of a mood to balance? During the test my attention drifts like a comet. Multiple choice questions mutate into tiny constellations in the margins. For the essay I almost hand in a manifesto, defend wonder. The proctor paces like a little planet and I look at you, teacher, and your eyebrows lift. You know I am not lazy, I am being careful about what matters. You once asked us to name 3 things that made us laugh last week. Mine were, a dog in a sweater, a neighbor tripping into compassion, and someone politely wrestling a jar. You smiled and said, keep those close. Sometimes I imagine a small program that pays people to daydream, a voucher for a sunrise, an afternoon to invent something useless, a certificate in proper giggling. Offices would hang signs saying, mandatory wonder hour. We would measure productivity in curiosity, and dotted lines on charts would become dotted lines of possibility. The rest of the class scribbles numbers and facts, but I listen to the pencil scratch as if it were a tiny radio broadcasting faint transmissions from other lives. Each smudge is a secret map. Each sigh is punctuation in the novel of ordinary days. I draw tiny constellations in the margins. When I hand you my paper you pause, reading not just answers but the questions I didn't finish. You mark a small star. I wear it like a medal. If you watched this, dear viewer, and felt your chest soften, then maybe the world can borrow this small rebellion. Count hugs, not emails, allow a giggle in meetings, reserve an hour for nonsense. If I become an astronaut, I'll make a list for adults, walk without purpose for 5 minutes, write a postcard to your younger self that begins, I didn't forget you, invent something useless and wondrous once a month, count hugs, not emails. I will plant flags that say, here we tried kindness. I will send postcards with advice like, take a half hour to walk, let your thoughts get lost and find you again. You said the best teachers notice what children notice. You see that adults sometimes wear scratchy masks labeled, grown up. Let us make softer masks, or none at all. Let us invent uniforms with pockets for chalk and stardust. Let watches count smiles instead of minutes. Let us be fools and wise in equal measure. So if you are watching this, remember something scandalous, growing up does not have to mean folding wonder into neat squares. There is room on the shelf for both a suit and a sticker book. There is room to answer tests and to skip a question to look at a bird. There is room to be an adult and still keep a map with crooked lines drawn by a hopeful hand. Join me. Let us be foolish and wise at once. Let us count giggles. Let us wear stars where others wear excess. Always. Please. Excuse me, my rocket engines are warming up.